Thanks very much, Chris, and I also begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and I pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. It gives me enormous pleasure to be back in Townsville for this very significant event. I do want to acknowledge and thank News Corp for their leadership in putting on this event to showcase the bush to our entire country. I've been to every single bush summit since the first one back in Dubbo in 2019. It is a catalyst for an important conversation, and News Corp is showing its commitment to keeping it going and now making it a national event, something that began in New South Wales. It's a conversation about the challenges of the present, but it's also a conversation about the possibilities of the future, a better future that we can make right here in Australia, a future in which the mighty state of Queensland is pivotal. At the heart of what we so loosely call the bush is a powerful truth, and that is that the communities beyond the capitals in all of their variety do so much to take the beautiful, audacious idea of Australia and turn it into a reality that is even more extraordinary. Regional Australians deal with challenges not known in the capitals, and the strength with which you emerge from them ultimately strengthens all of us. With so much of the nation's prosperity generated in our regions, we understand how important they are to building a stronger nation. We also understand how critical it is for people and families across regional Australia to have the support they need, whether it's access to quality services or relief from cost of living pressures. Similarly, we know how critical it is that when we get it right, it comes to the unique inheritance that is our natural environment. Here in Townsville, this beautiful city on this gorgeous morning, a bit warmer than Canberra, I've got to say, our minds inevitably turn to what is one of the world's greatest wonders, the Great Barrier Reef. The reef is a source of national pride and amazement. It is also a significant source of employment, generating more than 60,000 jobs. There are few places more fitting to talk about it than here in Townsville, which is the national headquarters of Australia's marine management and science. The reef belongs to all of us now and future generations, and that's why the government I lead is investing in it. I'm proud that as part of that investment, we're putting nearly $200 million into our Clean Water for the Reef program, 7 programs to boost efforts to protect and manage the reef. They will be about improving water quality and protecting the reef with flow-on benefits for biodiversity, ecosystem resilience and land management in reef catchments. And I'm pleased that the Minister for the Environment, Tanya Plibersek, joined us here today, and Nita Green, our Special Envoy for the Great Barrier Reef. These are important programs. They'll deliver projects in priority catchments to increase efforts to reduce nutrient runoff, support healthy wetland habitats, protect reef biodiversity and build ecosystem resilience, support on-ground community-led activities to improve water quality, support job creation and economic recovery for reef-dependent industries and regional communities. These programs will make an enormous difference. Earlier today, this morning, I was at Reef HQ making this announcement along with the announcement there. But there, one of the things we talked about in the media conference there was with Tanya spoke about Bob Catter, speaking about the role that feral pigs and other animals play in stirring things up and wrecking the riverbanks. Now, what this does, this program, good for water on the reef by looking after the land. Now, when you do that, you're supporting agriculture, you're supporting industry, you're supporting jobs, but you're also supporting the long-term sustainability of the Great Barrier Reef. Because for many who come to Townsville here, their introduction to the Great Barrier Reef is right here. Now, since it was opened by the great Bob Hawke in 1987, Reef HQ, the Great Barrier Reef Aquarium, has seen 4.5 million visitors pass through its doors. I was one of them. Unfortunately, those doors have been shut since 2019. Now, the funds that have been allocated formally weren't enough for the full rebuild that was necessary. And everyone knows that you can't renovate a house with half the funds. You've got to have all the funds in order to do what's necessary. Now, that changes now. A Labor Prime Minister in Bob Hawke opened it, and I'm pleased to announce here at the Bush Summit that a Labor government is helping to save it. We'll rebuild the Great Barrier Reef Aquarium with an additional $100 million investment. This brings total funding to $180 million. Work can now begin on building Australia's most cherished living coral reef exhibit to educate visitors about the reality of the reef and the responsibility that we all share to look after it. The additional investment will enable the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority to deliver a new purpose-built facility that will deliver global excellence in tropical reef education and provide immersive experiences. It's only right that Townsville, which plays such an integral role in the defence of our nation, should also play a part in teaching us to protect it. And it'll be great for the economy too. The project is expected to create over 1,000 jobs in construction and give Townsville's economy an enormous boost. So we're looking after Reef HQ, but we're also looking after the reef. Doing both, that is very necessary. And I note the previous announcements, and you'll be adding it all up, of the announcements from the Bush Summit. Well, you kicked in already 192 million plus 100, so you're already up to 292 million. So you've exceeded last year's achievements, I think, already. And I'm very proud to have worked as well with Stephen Miles and his government, g'day mate, and to work across the board here on what is such an important project, and to work with Townsville City Council as well. We look to the future with clear eyes and a firm grasp of the present. Today and every single day, my government is working to help Australians who are under financial pressure. We're boosting wages and delivering tax cuts for every single taxpayer, not just some, making sure that Australians can earn more and keep more of what they earn. We're making sure that Australians benefit from energy bill relief. Here in Queensland, it adds up to $1,300 between us and the Queensland Government. We're delivering cheaper childcare, cheaper medicines. We're partnering with states and territories and have delivered over 500,000 fee-free TAFE and vet places over 2023 to 2026, with around 1/3 of enrolments are located in our regional locations. And we're continuing to open regional university study hubs, including right across Queensland, to bring university closer to students in the regions, because opportunity must be available to every Australian. And I thank you so much for your amazing opening contribution. I wish you very much well in your future. We've established the Housing Australia Future Fund to help deliver tens of thousands of new homes, including in regional, rural and remote areas. The Regional First Home Buyer Guarantee supports eligible home buyers to purchase a home in a regional area with a deposit of as little as 5%. The government's also committed to improving the health outcomes of Australians living in regional, rural and remote areas. In the last budget, we allocated funding for a further 29 additional Medicare urgent care clinics. This will bring the total number of Medicare urgent care clinics across Australia to 87. You can walk in any day of the week and all you need is your Medicare card, not your credit card. 24 are already open to patients in regional, rural and remote areas. And that includes one right here in Townsville, which opened just before Christmas. In that time, just since Christmas, it's already had 10,500 visits. Now, that's making a difference. to the hard-working staff at Townsville University Hospital Emergency Department. Imagine the difference that's making for all of the people in Townsville, and then replicate that right across the country. That's what we're doing, and we're not stopping there. My government is making record investments in regional Australia, including $1 billion for regional grant programs over 3 years to invest in much-needed community and economic infrastructure in the regions, and $1.1 billion towards upgrading regional communications infrastructure across Australia that's so important to overcome the tyranny of distance and to close the digital divide, to make it easier for those who already live in the regions and to make the regions even more enticing for individuals, for families and for business. This is just one area where our pay rises for workers in essential services makes so much sense. Whether it's for early childhood educators or aged care workers, higher wages make it easier to recruit staff, but also to keep them. And the services they provide make it easier for residents to stay in their local communities. It's about building communities and strengthening them, making our regions as viable as they are beautiful. And that includes ensuring that our regional communities are safe. The federal government supports our state and territory counterparts and their law enforcement agencies through the provision of resources, technical assistance and coordination functions. Crucially, we're boosting investment in our northern bases to ensure Townsville strengthens even further the vital role that Townsville plays in the defence of our nation. It makes no sense for our geography and where we are located in the world to have most of our military assets in the southern part of the country. We're making the rational decision to put people and assets where they are most needed and where they will make a difference. Part of ensuring the health and strength of communities is acknowledging that just as each community is unique, each community contains a diversity of views. A core job of government is to listen to those views, all of them, not just some. Nor are communities static. As people move to our regions, we have to understand the shifting pressures and invest in services accordingly. And we keep building. We're committed to a 10-year infrastructure investment pipeline to deliver a sustainable program of nationally significant transport infrastructure projects right across Australia. Every time I come here to Townsville, I'm very proud that when we're announcing Edwina Andrew as our candidate at the port here, the Port Authority told us the important multiplier impact that the Port Access Road that was built when I was the Infrastructure Minister a decade ago now has made to the export potential of this great region, just as the Townsville Ring Road has been vital to get people around, boost productivity, but also, of course, when you build a better road, you get better safety as well, and you take away some of that health budget that you need. My government is helping farmers and their communities prepare for the next drought and build climate resilience with the Future Drought Fund program. We're also building resilience in Australia's future as a renewable energy superpower. As we work to harness more and more of the sunshine that Australia has in such abundance, the best solar resources in the world, farmers and solar farmers alike are finding mutual benefits in how they interact. Of course, there's always room for improvement, and community consultation has to get better. Developers need to do better, but all of this is within reach. Meanwhile, many of our farmers, producers and miners are already feeling the benefits from the resumption of Australia's trade with China. This is the result of a lot of careful, patient and deliberate work to return to a more mature relationship between our countries. It's not without challenges, but our position on China has been very clear and I've been consistent. We agree and cooperate where we can. We disagree where we must, and we put those disagreements clearly, but we engage in the national interest. And the numbers speak for themselves. From April of 2023, 1 year's time, to April 2024, Australia exported around $15 billion of previously affected products to China: coal, cotton, barley, wine, just commencing, compared to $1.5 billion during the same period the year before. Keeping the focus more local, China was Queensland's biggest export market in 2023-24, with over $5 billion of previously products that weren't going to China, $5 billion in 1 year. That's jobs here in Queensland as a direct result of the careful and calibrated approach that my government has conducted in all of our international affairs, whether it's China or the most significant defence treaty that we announced this week with the President-elect of Indonesia, making an enormous difference, or the work that we've done with Papua New Guinea, including the work we're doing, working our way through, potentially there being a team in the NRL. All of this has an economic benefit for Australia, as well as a mature relationship, helping to reduce conflict in the world rather than look for it. The ripple from every ship heading from our shores towards a Chinese port helps lift a community, a region, and ultimately our nation. And as we work to get more exports heading out, we're keeping a close eye on what imports are coming in as well. This government has invested record new biosecurity funding of more than $1 billion over 4 years. This will ensure that, for the first time in Australia's history, we have a sustainable biosecurity funding model to protect our agricultural industry, our natural environment, and our way of life. I take the opportunity to give a shout out to someone who's not here, Senator Murray Watt, great Queenslander, who as Agriculture Minister made such an incredible contribution. And Murray Watt, of course, when foot and mouth disease in Indonesia was an issue, and when some were calling for the live cattle industry to be suspended, Murray Watt said, working with Indonesia and working with the cattle industry here in Australia, said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to fix it. We're going to make sure through simple measures like mats for people coming in from Indonesia that the borders stayed opened and the industry continued to thrive, which is such an important industry for the north of Australia, but for our exports that benefit our whole nation. Now, as we work to get things right in the present, my government is investing in a future made in Australia to bring new jobs and opportunities to communities across the country. Making our future here in Australia is about making the most of our nation's potential and making sure everyone shares in the benefits. The National Reconstruction Fund will help support, diversify and transform Australian industry and the economy across priority areas. As just one example, my government is investing $70 million right here in the Townsville Hydrogen Hub. This is creating over 200 jobs, including roles in construction, trades and engineering. There's no reason for us to remain the last link in the global supply chain with all of the risks that carries in a more uncertain world. Surely we should have learnt that lesson from the pandemic. With a confidence underwritten by Australia's track record of achievement and innovation, we know we have what it takes to make things here. Regional Australia is home to the resources the world needs. We know that we can turn them into the products that the world wants. We can continue the great story regional Australia has long been riding by building an economy where manufacturing is every bit as strong as mining. An economy built with confidence on the skills, talent and hard work of our people. An economy where Australian researchers and innovators can commercialise their ideas here and turn discovery into industry. And in doing so, we can bring a new generation of secure, well-paid jobs. The bright lights that have never been been the preserve of the big capitals. Our vision for a future made in Australia is about every part of Australia, making the most of our natural resources, protecting our natural assets, making the most of our people's potential, and making sure that as we seize those opportunities, we share them with people and communities right across our nation, right across our regions. A better future for the bush is a better future for all Australians. Thanks very much.